Hello, family. I'm Carlos Aspinall from the Great Commission Church. Today, we want to share with you a summary of our Sunday teaching, presented as a reflection by our visual commentators and drawn from our sermon notes.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really digging into something profound from Pastor Carlos Aspinall's sermon. That was last Sunday at the Great Commission Church in Hanover Park, Illinois. His message, it really hit on this core truth, didn't it? How we all start out, well, innocent almost, like heirs to a kingdom, as Jesus taught. But, life happens. A misguided path can make you feel like you've lost that initial calling, lost your way.
Yeah, exactly. And what was so compelling, I think, in that sermon was the emphasis on hope. Even when things look completely lost, Pastor Aspinall highlighted that in Christ, there's always this powerful chance for real transformation. We're actually going to explore this through a pretty dramatic real-life story. It offers some powerful lessons, especially if you feel defined by your past.
Okay, so how did Pastor Aspinall's message kind of guide us toward understanding this transformative power? Was there a key example he used?
Absolutely. It really centers on the incredible journey of the Apostle Paul.
Right, Paul. Saul first. The sermon starts there, detailing the fierce zeal of Saul of Tarsus. Before his change, he was relentless, persecuting early Christians, even authorizing imprisonments, executions, forcing believers to deny their faith. He was really driven by tradition, wasn't he, to the point of violence?
Yeah, and what's crucial here, and Pastor Aspinall really emphasized this, is that Paul's dark past isn't something to be, swept under the rug. Instead, it stands as this powerful testament to God's transformative power. It teaches us that Christ doesn't just discard us. He reshapes us, no matter what our history looks like. It's sort of an invitation maybe for you listening, not to hide your own past, but let it show God's grace.
Then the sermon shifts, right, to that pivotal moment, super dramatic. Saul on the road to Damascus, struck by a blinding light, falls down, hears the voice of Jesus,
right,
leading to 3 days of blindness, fasting. He just flips. Persecutor to servant, almost instantly.
And this brings up a key question, which Pastor Aspinall tackled head on. This transformation, it wasn't about religious rituals, you see, or just human effort. It was this radical, intensely personal encounter with Christ himself. It speaks to a fundamental change, deep down. A true new beginning. So for us, it implies that just knowing about Christ, well, that's not quite it. It's about that personal transformation, reshaping who you fundamentally are.
And the message also brought out how Paul later understood he was chosen by God, like from the womb.
Yeah, that part's amazing.
With a specific purpose, even before he was born. It highlights this deep truth, doesn't it? That God is orchestrating things, even when we're rebelling.
Right. He was known as Saul, but then became Paul, a name that really fit his mission, especially to the Gentiles.
So what's the takeaway there from the sermon?
Well, what's fascinating is the point Pastor Aspinall made. Even if you feel like you've wasted years or made huge mistakes, if God chose you, nothing is truly lost.
Nothing is lost.
Your missteps, your falls, they don't cancel out God's eternal plan for your life. You're not a mistake. You were chosen by grace. It's quite profound.
It really is. And then there's that other decision Paul made. Pastor Aspinall pointed this out. Spending 3 years in the Arabian desert after his conversion.
That's significant.
He chose direct intimacy with God instead of rushing off for human advice. Didn't immediately go to Jerusalem to learn from the other apostles.
And this part of the sermon, it delivers such a powerful lesson. We often dread those desert times in our lives, right?
No, the dry spells.
The solitary periods where it feels like nothing's happening. But Pastor Aspinall argues quite compellingly that these are precisely the places God forms his most powerful servants.
So the desert isn't wasted time.
Not at all. It's preparation.
Yeah.
Look at Paul from that intense spiritual formation. He emerged to write 13 letters of the New Testament. 13, profoundly shaping Christian belief.
Wow.
It's a strong reminder that your own desert, maybe the one you're in now, it could be where God is truly preparing you.
So pulling it all together, what does Paul's incredible journey, as laid out in the sermon, mean for us today?
Well, the core message, I think, is that no one is too lost for God to transform.
Okay.
And our lives, your life, can become a living testimony to his incredible grace, no matter what's come before.
And Pastor Aspinall didn't just leave it there, did he? He concluded with a real call to self-reflection.
He did, a very powerful one. He basically asks you to consider honestly, are you hiding your past instead of letting it testify to God's power? Are you just living an external religion, going through the motions without that real inner change? Are you maybe resisting what God's trying to do in your own desert by just complaining about it? Or seeking approval from people instead of listening for the Spirit's guidance, clinging to old wounds? It's really a profound call to just surrender completely. Let Christ heal and guide you, shape you into the person, the father, the child, the individual he designed you to be, conforming to God's model.
That's a powerful challenge. We really encourage you to experience the full impact of Pastor Ospinall's sermon for yourself. You can find the whole thing by visiting the church webpage at www.conganlgc.org preachings.
That's www.conganlgc.org preachings.
And also on their YouTube channel, which is at Le Grand Commission LGC.
At Le Grand Commission LGC. Definitely worth watching.
Absolutely. Until next time.